right, our disgruntled gamer rant. This episode is just PC Gamer.
Yep.
It's just PC Gamer. All right, so out of all the articles that you could write about Clair Obscur, which is turning out to be not only Game of the Year, or quite possibly one of the best turn-based games ever made, if not the best. For me, when I reviewed it, I said this is the best turn-based game I've ever played. All right. And I'm an RPG fanatic.
Mm-hmm.
I played RPGs since I was 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And that was 35 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I played all the Final Fantasies, Dragon Quest. I played every fucking thing.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Anyway, PC Gamer, the thing they write about is no Geoff Keighley or Kaylee. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 was not made by a team of under 30 developers. We get it. All right. We understand that. And the devs say repeating the myth is a dangerous path.
What?
Listen.
They're so mad.
They are mad. Well, first off, the reason PC Gamer mad, I'm sure GameSpot is too, and some people from IGN. The reason they're mad is because of this controversy that was spun up by a bunch of fucking
idiots,
retards on social media about Clair Obscur not having diversity in it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Even though it's not technically Paris, I mean, it kind of is.
Well, I mean, you can tell it's French if you don't.
It takes place in a, I would say, what era I would say it is. Not modern day France or Paris, but, I would say a few hundred years ago kind of version of Paris, right?
Like a 1800s France, maybe.
Yeah.
Like a,
something like that. So that's the kind of the setting of it. All right. So if they're making a game about that time period or trying to relate to that time period of Paris, you would think they would have probably what? It'd probably majority of what? White people. I'm sorry to say it.
Yeah.
Okay. And they didn't have they didn't have diversity in their game, and including, when it came all the way up to ending. And that became a controversy on the internet. People were fucking losing their mind over that. Okay. But they were making a big deal out of nothing.
Yeah.
A big deal out of nothing because they had to make something up for this game of it doing so well. Of it, basically clapping Ubisoft's ass cheeks to the wall with their 18,000 bloated fucking studio.
Oh, but Ed, you're losing the plot. You're losing the plot. Remember that guy said that? You're losing the plot.
And all these other AAA studios that have put out mid shit have fed you in the face. Fed you this mid
and told you to like
mid games. And then we're forced by people on social media, these same people probably making fun or making this controversy up for Sandfall Interactive, the people that made Clair Obscur, making this controversy up that we're supposed to, like those games.
Yeah.
That they're next gen. They're the revolutionary. Like people were talking about Assassin's Creed Shadows from the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We saw the game. We saw the game with our eyes before it was released. Assassin's Creed Shadows. We knew it was going to be another Assassin's Creed Shadows with a few more things added to it.
Yep.
All right. But it's pretty much the same fucking game they made before.
Yeah.
This studio, Sandfall Interactive, this is the difference. With a 30 dev team, and of course, your outliers that they outsourced. But let's remember, this is the game that developed the game, the concept of the game,
correct,
of what it was going to be like. And they outsourced to get things taken care of from their mindset.
Yeah.
All right. Of what they wanted in the game, who they wanted to outsource to get these things done. So you're trying to take that away. You are. All right. You're trying to take that away by kind of falling behind the controversy that started with, it's not no diversity game.
Yeah.
Shut up. All right. So they try to create that. They come out with this article just to hit and, expand upon that. They know what they're doing. All right. We get it. All right. We get a PC Gamer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure GameSpot probably did something too. All these other articles, I call them game magazines, but they're not. They're really just political websites. They're not game journalists anymore. They're just they follow a political side and that's the track record. That's what they're going to go with.
Oh yeah.
And it's tiresome. Like the game journalism is kind of done. You got some few good ones here and there, but this is why everyone's flocked to YouTube, to 𝐟𝐨𝐫𝐞, to all these other game streamers, because they're tired of listening to these guys.
Yep.
They're tired of getting force-fed this political crap, ideological crap that they get every fucking day, every 24 hours a day, either from the news or whatever media they ingest. They get that shit. They're tired of that. So that's why these other streamers are getting way bigger. I mean, some of these guys, 𝐟𝐿 was big for a long time, but now this dude is just popping the fuck off.
Yeah.
I think he broke a record on Twitch or something like that.
Didn't he like make $80,000 on one thing or whatever?
Yeah, now he's doing on Kick.
Yeah.
And even though Kick probably boosted that because they wanted to like advertise their shit, but at the end of the day, he's still working with X to get something going too.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough about 𝐟𝐿𝐵𝐾. The other big thing is like when we take Clair Obscur, people say, "Oh, well, you're taking away from the people that help with the game. You're taking away their credit." They're on the credit screen, all right? But I'm not going to sit here and take away from the devs that fucking came up with the idea.
Yeah.
They came up with the idea that they completely shattered all these AAA studios that have so much backing and money behind them. They did it with a very small budget and gave us not only Game of the Year, but again, my point of view, one of the greatest turn-based RPGs of all time. With, minuscule, I would say very small, minimal resources compared to your AAA studio.
Oh, not according to that one guy who said it was from the French government. Gave them money.
I don't care if it was from the French government or not. Their budget was very small compared to most games. But they had a vision, and they took a risk. They went with the turn-based, which Squaresoft, let's remember, Squaresoft said you were taking a risk by going with turn-based. It's not going to sell well. Well, it did. And it continues to sell and continues to get popular, continues to get more notoriety, which it should. Depending on what comes out for the rest of the year, I'm looking at Death Stranding 2, maybe a couple of games that maybe could compete with it. I don't know.
Maybe Tides of Annihilation.
But right now, it's Game of the Year. All right, until another game proves me otherwise. It is Game of the Year. There is no other game comes close to it. If it doesn't get Game of the Year, then...
Let me ask you a question.
What?
Do you think some of these games that were shown at the Summer Game Fest or whatever, do you think that these games were originally going to come out in 2025, but decided to push back to 2026 because of Clair Obscur?
I don't know, but I will say that it might have had an effect on it. But the good thing, the greatest thing they could have done is, this is my story that I would have done. Clair Obscur, welcome back turn-based RPGs.
Yeah.
That'd be a great fucking headline.
They're not going to do that. Because they know.
Clair Obscur, here's the blueprint. Expand upon it.
Yeah. They're not going to do that. You know why?
That's all you got to do.
You know why? Because the people who cheer for this game, the chuds.
Well, that and, you got... They want the clicks, so they had to write an article like this. They want clicks. They want the discussion. This is all these fucking game sites are now. These journalistic sites. They're just wanting the clicks. They're going to say something to get the clicks. Remember Assassin's Creed Shadows came out and they were like playing upon with the it was actually it was Assassin's Creed Shadows, because 𝐬𝐿𝐵𝐾, you could actually have you could have romance a man in it. So they made a big deal about that.
Mm-hmm.
They expanded like that was like, okay, is that the game? Is that all the game's about? Is that why you're highlighting it? They were playing an ideological perspective.
Yeah.
And then you also had, what's that game that just came out?
Kingdom
Come?
Yeah.
Deliverance 2?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You could romance Hans, which, you'd have to go out of your way to romance your best friend in the game. Like, you'd have to go out of your way. But that is what they focus on, that the game was about. And they made so many articles about it because they want the clicks. They want the discussion. So that's what these game sites are now. This is why no one really fucking goes to them for anything else. Like real gaming, they don't go to them for anything besides to make fun of them on X or social media. That's pretty much it.
Well, it also showed. Now let's talk about the people that we had to interact with here, and it just shows how stupid they are, because there was a lot of stupid people. One of the guys, because I made the comment, I said this is probably the best turn-based RPG game, and I said, name me some ones that are better. And he said Final Fantasy X, and I laughed hysterically because I'll go ahead and say it now. Final Fantasy X is not even a good game. It's a decent game. It's not even a good game. It's actually on the scale of one of the worst Final Fantasy games.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, let me interject real quick. All right. Everyone that's watching, hey, thanks for joining DMG Gaming Podcast. If you guys could like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, we're on Rumble. We're also on Facebook, X. We have podcasts on Apple and Spotify. Just search DMG Gaming Podcast on pretty much any platform, and you'll find us. DMG Gaming Podcast. But appreciate everyone joining and listening to us rant about stuff. But please like and subscribe. All right, Grant, continue.
Yeah, so they said Final Fantasy X was better than Clair Obscur, and I laughed because Final Fantasy X is not even better than a lot of games. Like Final Fantasy X is it's on like if you're
Final Fantasy X is better than 13. I think it's better than 15.
Oh yeah, well yeah. I mean, I can literally draw on a chalkboard, and it's better than Final Fantasy 13.
Yeah,
Final Fantasy 13 is a god awful game.
It's not better. Well, 16 still holds. I like 16. I just like the character.
But 15 is terrible
even
too.
though it's not turn based, but still.
Final Fantasy 15 is garbage as well.
Yeah, I don't like 15. But yeah. So I don't know, man. I think game journalism is just about clicks now. It's not really about being, I would say, down the middle.
No.
Being truthful. It's really about money. That's why these PC gamer, they'll prop up Ubisoft a lot. They did it for all their Star Wars Outlaws, which was a mid game.
Yeah.
They did it for Assassin's Creed Shadow. Sorry, mid game. But these companies will prop them up because advertisements, all that stuff. They get it. They get the money, and you can't trust them anymore. That's why, again, I will say it again. People have flocked to YouTubers. That is where they get their gaming news from.
Hey, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. Rank these 4 games. Okay.
All right. Go ahead.
Concord, Avowed, Assassin's Creed Shadows, and Star Wars Outlaw.
Well, I played all 4.
Mm-hmm.
Concord, of course, is last.
Okay.
I'm sorry. That was just garbage. Pure garbage. Star Wars Outlaws was mid. That's third. Second, I'll give to Assassin's Creed Shadows because it's another mid. I mean, it's Assassin's Creed. Nothing. The story lost me. Maybe I had Assassin's Creed burnout from playing Valhalla so much and 100% in that game. Maybe I had burnout from that. I don't know. It just didn't pull me in. I didn't think the story was good. Gameplay was repetitive. I would say that's second. Avowed, even though that's still a mid game. Okay. I gave it a 7 or something, right?
Yeah.
When I reviewed it.
Mm-hmm.
It's still mid/borderline good. It's right there. It's more because we were basically that waiting for another Elder Scrolls or that type of game. Different world, kind of tied in. What's that game? Was it not Pathfinder? Tires of Numeria? Maybe I can't remember. Anyway, it was in that world. So I'd give it that number 1, even though you're giving me a shitty list of games.
I wanted. So my next question is this: out of those 4, let's say out of the top 2 games, Assassin's Creed Shadows and Avowed, because they're going to give one of these shitty games a contendership for Game of the Year. They're just going to they have to because it's like
It's going to be Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Is that what you think it's going to be?
All right. The reason because everyone's listening now. The reason because of I would say how polarizing this game was on social media. of 𝐿 being the main protagonist.
Mhm.
Everyone's listening to this probably think we're a bunch of fucking racist.
No,
But the point of this is we're pointing out force-fed crap that they ruined. They kind of ruined their own game. Very similar to Dragon Age: The Veilguard. Force feeding that crap in a fantasy world just to check a box like Netflix does in some of their series, you know?
Yeah.
And it's not about not liking diversity. We like natural diversity. We like just natural diversity, tell a story, and focus on your game. Stop focus on the outside politics or your personal ideology, all right? Focus on the gameplay, the game, the story. And to my sense, if finally you brought Assassin's Creed to Japan, by God, the amount of fucking male samurais or Ronins from history that you could have fucking used.
Correct.
To give the people of Japan or that setting their Assassin's Creed.
Yep.
But you decided to go with the check mark, right?
Yep.
And then you remember the changing of the history.
No, yeah.
The gate guarding of Wikipedia for that, saying he was a legendary samurai. He was. No, he wasn't. All right. But you gate guarded that. You blocked people from accessing that Wikipedia page. You brought in a white dude, Thomas Lockley, that disappeared and said that he wasn't a, person part of that, the Assassin's. But it turned out he actually went on their history podcast. Ubisoft has Assassin's Creed history podcast, whatever. He was on there and he said he worked with Ubisoft for the fucking game as their personal historian. Well, it turned out that what he said was kind of made up bullshit, and he admitted to that, and he just fucking disappeared. No one talked about him anymore.
Exactly.
And then they brought in the Japanese communists that said stuff about 𝐿, and it turned out that he said none of what I said was actually factually correct. It was more of interpretation, and then he fell off to the fucking wayside. He disappeared. So it's just all the compounding and the Torii Gate fiasco with the collectibles, with the bombing of Nagasaki. It was just like, who is running like 18,000 people and no one's finding, all these fuck ups over Japanese history and like how things were? Well, it's just a fake game. Well, it doesn't matter. They base their games off of history, okay? Even though they fudge it to make the story and everything like that, they still base it off the country's history or that time period's history. Oh God, using the Oda clan symbol and everything they never got permission from the family to use. You could sleep with Nobunaga's I think sister or something like that. It was so bad. But that's kind of the point we're making on, like, this is what gamers want. And this is what needs to go forward. These AA studios, small, core, fantastic studios that focus on their game and their vision without all the bloat of a AAA game studio of having to go through all these things. So disconnected from their different studios of different, I would say, sections that work on different things. So much disconnect that you get this mid slop thrown in your face from these huge studios that's supposed to be putting out, game of the year material at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
They don't. It's these smaller studios that are coming in, and that's how it should be, because you're focused on a core staff that you can manage to get a product done in a decent amount of time, but a fantastic product.
Yeah.
And the mismanagement, as you see from these bigger game studios like Ubisoft and others, Square Enix is getting there too, or they're already there. You just see a lot of mismanagement, a lot of, trying to play off of beloved series from back in the day. They continue to do that, and it's not working. It's not working anymore. They've made their companies too big for their own good, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Disagree with me or not, but this is a perfect example right here. Clair Obscur, Sandfall Interactive.
Oh, but Final Fantasy X's a better game.
Yeah, whatever. All right, Grant, that's our disgruntled gamer rant.
Yeah.